Greetings! What's up, guys? What's up, guys? What's up, guys? What's up, Greg? What is up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the new Liza Eldridge eyeshadows, the Liquid Lurex eyeshadows. I'm sure this is not the first that you're hearing of them. I bet your feeds are stacked with reviews already. I have really tried to maintain my distance from anybody's reviews so that I could have, you know, my own thoughts. I did pick up 4. I completely meant to pick up 5, but I did that thing on her website where I was like, they're gonna sell out, because a lot of Liza Eldridge's makeup does sell out right when it gets released. But I feel like she's been making a lot more product when she does launches than she used to. So things are still available on her website, you know, days later, which is phenomenal. That said, I did go back and buy the 5th one just so that I could have a complete collection. I don't necessarily think that speaks to like my endorsement of the product. I just want the whole collection. So I picked up Angelica, Lauren, Liza, and BIANCA for now. We have basically like a cool pink, a taupey, a taupey taupe, a true gold, and a kind of blue shifting gray charcoal black kind of color. Typical of Miss Liza Eldridge. It has her lovely insignia on the top. I do feel like, you know, for $27, which is the price point on these, the packaging is, it's minimal and it's sleek and it's pretty. It's not glass or anything, but it's really, it does still feel really nice. I have all my makeup on already with the exception of my eyeballs and like my lips. And I'm going to swatch all of these. First, I'm gonna put them on. I'm gonna just like do a look, and then I will swatch them against the other stuff in my collection that I think is comparable. I think you guys might have seen on my Instagram stories recently. I kind of went to town last Friday when I was first trying these, and I just like swatched my whole arm up. A sigh? With all of my glitter shadows, sorting them into piles of similarities of color, not necessarily of texture, but of color. And some of these in my collection are more dupable than others. And I just think that that's a relevant comparison. And then we will kind of chat her promises along the way, her claims and everything, and I'll close with my final thoughts. If you guys find this fun and valuable and whatever, when I get Diana, which is the one that I don't know, I just blanked and didn't add it to cart. I literally opened the box and I was like, why are there only 4? I thought I ordered all of them. Like it was one of those. Then I'll just do like a, you know, a swatching video for you guys if you want. By the time it gets here, there will probably be thousands of swatching videos of these, but if you guys want one from me, I'm willing to do that. Anyway, let's go ahead, and I think y'all are already moved in, but I can try and scooch it closer, and we'll put some of these on my eyes. We'll do a Luke. So yeah, hi, welcome. Welcome to Monday. I'm dehydrated. I'm tired. I've been chasing a 14-month-old around all weekend. Cut myself while doing the dishes in a hurry this morning. Spent the whole morning cleaning every room in the house because babies are tornadoes. But this morning, my son said, I love, and then demurred before he said you. And he also sang fa la 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 in a gremlin voice. So like, I'm doing amazing. That's all it takes to just like bring you back to life apparently as a parent. Plus we sent him to daycare wearing a shirt that was covered in candy canes this morning. So not real candy canes. Anyway, I went live over the weekend and impromptu basically like invited Amanda onto the live with me. It was a mess and it was really fun, and we both tried our liquid Lurex, our liquored up Lurex, and I used Lauren in that one, and I topped it with a shadow from the Pat McGrath Utopian Dream palette, and it looked freaking incredible. Okay, and I'm not going to do that same look again, even though it would look really great because I'm wearing so much gold, but you've already seen it. Go to my Instagram, check that out if you can tolerate that video. But I also put it on my main feed, so you can just look at it and not have to tolerate me trying to talk. Ooh, should we just do Liza? Should we just go in? Because you're gonna see when I start to swatch in that these are pretty similar to a lot of things that you're probably used to seeing on my channel. This is new. This is new to me, you know? We're just gonna go right in with Miss Liza. Don't do me wrong, Lucille too. This might not be an ideal shade for people with brown eyes because it's cool toned and it's gonna pull a little blue on me, but we'll work on top of it if we have to. I'm gonna go ahead and do both. Some of the claims that Liza specifies in her release video were, one, that it's really long wearing and kind of hard to get it off. I disagree with the hard to get it off part. Like, it's not as stubborn at all, anywhere near as stubborn as what I thought it was going to be, which was similar to the lid stars from Glossier. They go down and they do not budgeroo, okay? They don't move for anything. The way that these work, I feel like they do have a dry down, but you can still kind of manipulate them after they're dried down. This might be too small of a brush to be working with right out of the gate here, because it's gonna end up a little bit patchy, I think. And as far as the long wearingness, I don't really know, because I haven't like worn these for, you know, some crazy night out. I'm not having many crazy nights out. That's an exaggeration. I haven't had a night out in a very, very long time. I don't hate that. It's making my eyes look small because it's not blended, but I don't hate it. I'm gonna take a bigger brush here. It probably has something on it, but I'm just gonna kind of use that to work this out. If anything, it's something very neutral. I mean, honestly, it's probably more relatable to use a brush that has something on it. Like, if I were to pull a completely clean brush, most people watching this would be like, can't relate. So, like I said, this is like a charcoal to, you know, black kind of glitter that shifts a little bit blue. And you'll see that even more so when I swatch it next to, for example, Mink from Victoria Beckham. Now, there are a couple things that can happen with shadows like this. One is that they get incredibly patchy, and I am not getting a lot of patchiness, which is phenomenal. The other thing is sometimes, because you have to have something in the formula to make them dry down quickly or dry down at all, a lot of times there will be kind of an irritation factor for a minute. I'm not getting any of that, which is great, because even the Danessa Myricks Flakies give me a sensation, and even the Victoria Beckham Lid Luster gives me a sensation. Even if it passes, this doesn't give me anything like that, which is wonderful. I tried to keep it really, really basic on the rest of my face today. So I am wearing most of the stuff that you're very, very used to seeing on me. I am wearing the Lisa Eldridge foundation, the Seamless Skin Foundation, because it's great. I'm wearing my Thrive Concealer, some Pat McGrath blush in Flirtatious, topped with some Dior blush in Pink 01. And my Patrick Ta contour and bronzer. Really, really straightforward today. So you can see where I have succeeded in creating any kind of gradation there, that the glitter is really pretty and fine and consistent. I mean, anything like this, you're gonna end up accentuating a little bit of texture just because it's reflecting light. So if you have like crepiness on your eyes or something like that, that's probably why That's probably why I'm like, what happens to things? That's what happens to things. But that's probably why she recommends working on top of it with other things. And that's what we're gonna do. We can keep it super duper basic again. In fact, this has a really nice, like, semi cool toned black in it. This is my Thrive Perfect Eye palette. Yeah, this is a pretty good thing to kind of work on top of this with and get, you know, the moody sort of situation that I would be going for here. I might have been ambitious going in right with the black though. Let's try the brown and mix it with a little bit of like this cool toned taupey color. You know, we can get there slowly instead of in a big sloppy hurry. And what I'll do is I'll get all this worked out, and then I will probably go in with the Liquid Lurex again and top it. But I'm trying to keep it simple. Even though it's dramatic, I still want to keep it simple so it doesn't get really, really muddy. I'm gonna take a different brush here, something that doesn't have black on it. And I'm gonna take this white right here. It's kind of a creamy warm white, more of like a skin tone shade for me. and use that to blend up into the brow bone. Maybe, oh, what's the word? Contain this a little bit. So the reason that I like the Thrive eyeshadow formula, it's not necessarily the easiest to blend in the world, although it's pretty easy. It's because once you get this formula on, it doesn't budge. It's a phenomenally long wearing formula that actually is waterproof. Like I use it for eyeliner. I'm actually gonna go in with my blush next. This is the Flirtatious blush from Pat McGrath. I'm doing this because even though you don't necessarily detect that color, unless you obviously like watch me put it on, it's more about kind of making everything look like it was the same idea. Like it all lives on the same face of makeup, you know? I'm going to contain this a bit, even more, with some Hourglass powder. It adds coverage and it also kind of picks up a little bit. I tend to kind of like shove a brush right here and it gets a little too low sometimes. So clean, clean, clean. And then I'm going to use the Liquid Lurex again and try and get a little bit more shimmery shine right on the top here. Should we put some gold in it? Now I'm just kidding. I'm like, I'm gonna keep it simple. Sure you are, Kackie. Because that was one of the things that I was the most excited about, was when she demoed the fact that you can put that gold Lauren right underneath your lash line on the bottom. Whew. Smoking. So gorgeous. Even the pink would look kind of rad, honestly. Like, I think we do that. Yeah, that's a big vibe. Let's do that one. Yeah. So again, that's Bianca. And this formula really does lend itself to you changing your mind, which a lot of them don't. You know, even a Pat McGrath palette sometimes will sell you out if you change your mind halfway through or decide that you're gonna kind of editorialize after the fact, because it'll just be like, yeah, it's pretty mud, but it's still mud. But this actually like layers really beautifully. It would take probably 3 or more layers if you were putting shadow in between, like regular shadow, to start to get kind of chunky and mucky. And even then, you're still looking at like, you know, a Studio 54 vibe. Studio 54 was not known for being clean on the glitter, you know? It was very like rock star, worn in, danced in, sweated in kind of thing. So I just need an inner corner highlight, and I think that I can call this done. I'm gonna just pop into, oh, you know, any old Pat McGrath palette here. This happens to be Divine Rose 1. And I'm actually going in with this one, this kind of psychedelic white, because it has like this beautiful reflective quality to it. The only thing I'm not super digging is kind of the contrast that created up here. It's not a very pretty gradient that I made, but I think I'm kind of trying to reconcile too many things, so I'm just going to leave that at that. I'm gonna do eyeliner and mascara and finish everything else, my lips and my brows and stuff, and we will come back and have a swatch party. Stay tuned. Okay, so this is the energy today. I moved y'all out because I want to have ample room in the frame to swatch, because my swatches tend to get a little chaotic. I'm gonna actually take off all of my jewelry here. Starting with Angelica. That is Angelica. It is the easiest to wear for someone with my skin tone, probably. It's just kind of that color that Charlotte Tilbury sees when she closes her eyes to go to sleep at night. You know, it's sparkly pink brown. So one of the first things that I wanted to show you guys is Amber Rush from L'Oreal. You know, some drugstore eyeshadow here. This is not a cream, it is still a powder, but it is like one of the most velvety powders. Here we have Amber Rush. Very, very similar in shade. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Yep, okay, so this is the Iconic Chrome Pigment Paint in Alluring from Illamasqua. Okay. Really, like, I don't know if someone really had me at gunpoint if I could tell you the difference between these. after they're swatched. Also, I think that this is kind of a self-own because I have so many of the same shade. It's like, whose fault is that really? So this is the CoverGirl Exhibitionist Lid Paint in the, ooh, it's not on here. Oh, yes it is. Sorry Sweetie is what it's called. It is a little bit more sparkly and slightly less pigmented, maybe a little bit more pink. We're getting into being a little bit further in terms of, you know, standard deviations here. And it's also like $8.99 at the drugstore, you know, it's not at least an Eldridge formula. Here we have Temper from Auric. Yeah, and that's just the cream. So there is Auric Temper with a little bit of that glitter topper. Next we have Amber Aura from Phytosurgence. Almost no glitter here, but kind of getting into that more coppery value. This one won't wash off for anything. This is NYX in Glam Rock. Another one where it's like, you know, getting into copper land. And then we have Tea Rose from Victoria Beckham Beauty. Meow. I might swatch Tea Rose next to the other kind of pinker one that I put, or the purpler one, because I think that that's also relevant there. But you can see, even though these aren't very similar, they're still worth comparing. You do not need makeup wipes, you only need Glossier Milky Oil or whatever. Whatever you have. Cool, I'm giving myself some kind of contact reaction. That's fun, really useful when swatching. So that is, like I said, the one that is the easiest to dupe in my collection. And if I were to go fishing around like I did the other day in my palettes, I've got shades that will dupe these things in like a lot of different palettes too. It's just they're not in like a liquid format and they're not in like a singles format. I think that that's a very valuable thing. It's like, do you want one eyeshadow or do you want to pay $125 for a Pat McGrath palette? Like those are two very different buying decisions. I have lost all of the lids because of course I have. Moving right along. The next one that is dupeable but not as dupeable in my collection is Bianca, the one that I used basically like right under there. It's sort of more lavender. Really dig this shade because I love like a cool toned pinky mauve. These do stay really true on the skin though. I like that a lot. You know, like they kind of just keep that pigmentation value. Like everyone that I saw Lauren on, it looked like Lauren. You know what I mean? You could tell that color even though there were like a lot of different people that were wearing it. Does that make sense? I think that the best comparison here is Lyra from Vesca, and the reflection in this is a little different. It's going to be a little bit peacher, so you still don't have that kind of super nuanced purple. Then I have Potent Petal from Phytosurgence, and it's even peachier, and I think that actually I should probably swatch Angelica against this so that you can see that they're different too. And you could argue that Lyra is right there in the middle of those two. So this is Angelica, this is Bianca. And again, like I said, I wanted to go ahead and swatch Tea Rose against that one for the sake of comparison, even though they're not very similar. Tea Rose is much more similar to Angelica. Moving to Lauren here. Lauren really doesn't have a lot of sister queens in my collection, and I think that's why I was the most excited about this shade. I knew after seeing it on Liza that I was going to like the way that it looked on me, and it's probably the one that I like the most on me because it's so unique. It really stands out. But I also knew because I love wearing, you guys have heard me talk about it a million times by now, this particular gold right here in the Utopian Dream palette. And it's not the same texture at all, but they are almost the same very rich, almost orange, true gold on the skin. And what I like to do, since this is more opaque and more of like a foil, Lauren is like, top it with that shade from the Utopian Dream palette, because the way that it shears out, you do get almost like a scattered light effect. It's like if you apply Lauren all over and then you take that gold and you just touch it right in the middle and then kind of like scatter it up into the crease and above the crease. It just makes you look powerful. It makes you look like a queen. It just makes me really, really happy, those together. So, you know, the fact that I'm even comparing this to a Pat McGrath shadow formula, that's a pretty high compliment in itself. And then I also just wanted to swatch Honey against it from Victoria Beckham, not because they're extremely similar, but just because you might be curious to know. It is a much beiger, taupier kind of gold. It almost doesn't even look gold, you know? Because these are so orange gold. But, you know, you cover that one up, it's like, oh, okay. You know, and I have green golds in my collection that are like that too in individual palettes. When you put them up against something like that, you know, the green contrasts against like the red in the orange gold, and it's like looks almost entirely green, but when it's like by itself, it just looks gold. So that's the power of color theory. But honest to God, like that's the closest, that Pat McGrath gold is the closest shade that I have in my collection to Lauren. And that was another reason that it was so appealing to me. All right, and finally we have Liza here. I don't know why I was just showing you the blank back of my hand. It's already on my eyes, but like I said, there's really nothing in my collection that looks like this, but I'm going to just show you the similar ones. Okay, here we have Mink from Victoria Beckham. And this is very much like a brown that shifts a tiny bit, kind of that same blue gray, steel gray. It's like they have the same shift, but like a totally different base note, you know? Like this has like almost like a charcoal base, and this is like a brown base. The other two worth comparing here, I have, oddly enough, Orion from Vesca. It's like brown on the outside, but it has a surprisingly like cool, almost green base to it. Isn't that crazy how different they all look compared to each other? Like how blue this looks. Oh, I should shift. Okay. I should swatch Ego. Ego from Auric. Ooh, actually that's like super similar. I would not have known that. God, why is this topper so much better than the other toppers? Makes me crazy. Temper should have had this good of a topper. Yeah, so there's that. And finally, out of the Olivia Palermo Soiree palette, I thought it might be cool to swatch that Black Shift Blue. It's gonna look underwhelming compared to obviously a liquid shadow, but it is still very pretty. Yeah, well, as usual, my swatches are terrible, but yeah, that is the closest that I get in my collection to trying to dupe Lisa Eldridge's Liza shade. The closest is definitely Ego from Auric, which is crazy because I have never found Ego to be particularly wearable. Really surprising even to me. Let's go on her website real quick and we will just make sure that I didn't miss anything talking about these, but I think that that was the main thing I wanted to do, was just swatch it in my collection against a lot of the other kind of one and done shadows that I have used a lot on my channel in the past, in case you have those in your collection and or you've been thinking about any of them. So yeah, like I said, I've got Diana coming. And that's gonna be an even more orangey, coppery gold. I'm excited about that one. It says Liquid Lurex is here, and they are all still in stock as of the filming of this video. It says easy to use eye embellishment inspired by 70s glamour. I did not bring my glasses in here. That will see you through the party season and beyond. With a flattering formula that is both creamy and lightweight, Liquid Lurex eyeshadow has a lustrous, wet look finish with durable shine that disco diva dreams are made of. It is vegan, free of parabens, talc, fragrance, nylon 12, D6, D5, and ooh, it's silicone free. Well, there you go, guys. Let me just swatch all four here next to each other, and then we will chat final thoughts. Okay, here I have my gorgeous, perfect swatches of all the four that I have, and that is Lauren, Angelica, Bianca, and Liza. I'm ready to give you guys my final thoughts. The first thing that I want to talk about is like versus expectation, how they performed for me. So I would say that they performed pretty much exactly like I thought that they were going to, but they also didn't surprise me in any positive way, any negative way either. But I think that I was hoping for a je ne sais quoi, like some kind of like buildability or a light catching kind of scattered light moment where they were going to give me more disco diva than I could even see in her video, but they're really just very high quality liquid shadows. You know, and I think that the colors are inspired by the 70s, but the formula is not, it's not like Rowan in the sense that like you touch your finger in it, you put it on your skin and you go, that is like nothing else I've ever used before, and I'm going to think about makeup differently now. It doesn't rattle the ground beneath me in terms of, you know, what I've come to expect from the way makeup would perform. And I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with that. They're not $60, you know what I mean? They're $27 for an eyeshadow, which is what you would typically, you pay usually more than that for like a little pot from Charlotte Tilbury or like, you know, Tom Ford, get ready for it to be $70 kind of thing. So I think that they are well priced, and I think that they do exactly what I expected them to do. Now, as far as the actual colors that she chose, I think that it could come off the wrong way, me saying this is incredibly dupable in my collection. There's absolutely nothing wrong with making a shade that I already love. Well-worn shades are well-worn for a reason. It's because they're what we like to wear. And so her making shades that are what we like to wear, like that's how you sell makeup, friends, okay? So I like that there is a little bit of surprise. There is some experimentation. Lauren is something, like I said, that's actually pretty hard for me to find in my collection, even though it's something that I feel like is extremely wearable on my complexion and on kind of everybody. It's, oh, you know what else it reminds me of? Hang on a second. Is it? Is it? Okay, it's similar. One of my favorite shades in like any palette is this shade Gloria, and it is from the Focus Eye Palette #1. It's an oldie but a goodie from Thrive, and I love this shade because it really just looks bonkers awesome on everybody. And I think that that was what I found so appealing about Lauren. So these are winners for a reason. And it's just like Victoria Beckham. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, it has to be 100% unique to anything else that's on the market in order to like entice me to buy it. I do want it to perform and be really beautiful, but it could very easily be someone's first time trying that color, or the first time that they tried a formula where they felt like they could work with that robust of a color on themselves. It could be a breakthrough moment for you. There's something to be said for that, especially when you love Lisa Eldridge. She's not only making you a beautiful product, she's going to provide as much support as you ever need, okay? Through her videos, through her Instagram, through DMs, what have you, to make sure that you have everything you need to get the most out of the product that you bought. I really feel like it comes with a lot of love and attention. The colors, some are more rare than others, but I feel like there actually is something for everybody in there. Something to be excited about. Like there's one, like Angelica, super easy for me to wear. BIANCA, a little bit more like offbeat, but still easy for me to wear. And then these are like surprisingly fun for me to wear. And I feel like that identity that they maintain on the skin means that you're kind of painting on the skin instead of thinking in terms of shadow and light. Now, this one I think would probably go a little bit more translucent on a lot of people's skin, but the rest that I have here, they seem to just really keep their like visual pigment identity, that local color, regardless of what, you know, skin tone you're putting them on. And I always have to give it the bird's eye view of, is it fun and easy to use? Yes, they are fun and they are easy to use. Do they absolutely blow my mind like you need to run, do not walk? Not necessarily. I am not going to mentally spend your money on something that I do feel like if you had your eye on one particular shade, there's a chance you could find it at the drugstore kind of thing. And I don't ever want to kind of sell that short. I don't want you to go spend $27 on something if you can't. I just want to be realistic about it, but I am really glad that I got them, and I am going to continue wearing them, and I do think they are fun and easy to use, as exactly what they are. So I hope that you guys found this valuable. If you did, give it a messy swatchy thumbs up. They really only give you one option. You can just give it a regular thumbs up. And if you are not already subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe. I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard time just finishing this video. I had marbles in my mouth, and yeah, so hit the subscribe button if you want. I love you guys so very muchly, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Oh my God, Kackie.